This event has been evolving over the years. Before the pandemic, there was a group that came through. Several of the original designers that were on the Design Plus Tech Connection are here. Tony Sabatino, Julie Schuster from the NKBA Manhattan chapter. Shout out to them because they keep coming back. And I hope that every year forward from here, we get to see all of you guys coming back too. It's really important for us in the technology side to connect with the design build community and really embrace what you guys are doing and help understand a little bit more how you do what you do and help provide the same information and resources back to you. And that's really what today's conversation is about. I'm Katie McGregor-Bennett. I'm the CEO of KMB Communications. We're a boutique PR firm. We do a lot of content development and storytelling. I got really involved and sort of passionately involved with the connection of design and technology several years ago. It's become my sort of personal, professional passion, if you will. Are any of you guys in the room design hounds? Tony, Julie, beautiful, okay. So I got involved with Veronica Miller several years ago with Modanis. She allowed me to enter the fold of the design hounds. So I've been on a few of the tours. I've found that it's really a fascinating thing because technology, while it's sort of broadly used, it isn't as broadly understood. So that's my personal mission, is to help bridge that gap. And again, that's what we're here for today. Thank you for joining us so much. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Lord-Levitt.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Lord-Levitt. I have been in this design and construction industry for over 20 years. I am originally from Seattle. I moved to Denver in 2012 and got my master's degree in real estate and construction management. So I've been in this design and construction industry quite a while. I own a design firm here that specializes in kitchen and bath, custom homes, anything construction-related design, not so much soft surface. I also teach construction management at a local interior design school. I have a couple students here, so shout out. And I just recently founded an education company that is actually construction education that's curated for interior designers and real estate brokers, because I'm also a real estate broker, so.
A woman of many talents.
Yeah.
Sarah Drescher as well, if you would, introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Drescher. My company is called Luxury Integrated Technologies, LIT for short. We are a manufacturer's rep firm in the Southeast United States based in North Carolina. I've been in the industry for 8 years, and I started as an electrical engineer out of school working for Lutron. I moved to Texas for about 3 years, and then I moved out to the Georgia area where I started working on energy storage solutions from a technology side as well. So grown there to start my own rep agency and start representing the best-in-class products across different categories for the technology space. Excited to be here.
So today we're going to have a quick conversation about leveraging technology as an extension of your brand. It's not really a quick conversation, but what we've done is we're breaking it down into segments. We want this to be a very comfortable conversation, and we want to help you guys have more confidence, if you will, with incorporating technology into your design or your design considerations. As we go through the course of the conversation, we're also going to give you guys some tools and some resources, some things to take note of. So if you see some cues on the screen, please by all means take photos. And at the very end, you'll see a slide that has our contact information. I just want to make sure that you understand that we are here to help you. And the whole point of this conversation is to help build confidence with technology. So we are here to help, and we're here not only just to be here today to talk, but we're here to help after today as well. So when that slide comes up at the end, go ahead and take a photo of that and reach out to us if you guys have any additional questions or you just need some connections. That's what we're here for. So I want to do a quick round of hands. We've got three things. We need to know who we've got in the room. So if you wouldn't mind, how many of you guys in here are, wait, my notes. How many of you are interior designers, builders, architects? All right. Students. Oh, come on, there's more of you. Students.
Do it.
You know, I need my readers. I'm going to just admit that I can't see very well. All right, real estate professionals? Good, all right. How about property managers, owners, reps? Cool. Manufacturers, representatives. Awesome, thanks for being here. Any other industry professionals? Lighting designers.
Oh, nice.
All right, excellent. Okay, cool. We've got a really good mix in the room.
Yeah.
All right, so now for the technology side, how many of you guys are CEDIA, HTA, certified integrator, or a supporting brand for HTA? Cool. All right.
Awesome.
Awesome, thanks for being here. Last one, for the designers in the room. How many of you guys are currently working or have worked with technology integrator? Okay, all right. So there's very few hands that were raised on that. And that's why we're here today. We want to give you guys the resources and the tools, as we've said. So let's go ahead and kick this off. Today's session, we're going to do a quick rundown. This opening session, we're going to do a quick rundown. We want to make sure we understand some of the primary roles in the room, if you will. Electricians and then technology integrators. So I'd like Elizabeth, if you would not mind, let's see if I can get this. I should have already been doing this.
Well, we're looking for the slide that it talks about what an electrician does. Now, I'm pretty sure that we all know what an electrician does in this room. If we don't know, here's a basic understanding. They run wires. They provide the electrical to the house. They're a big component of the MEP process. They are the switches, the outlets, the panels, the sub-panels, the home runs, anything that is of basic concern when it comes to the electrical components. Occasionally they follow my lighting plan, often they don't. And I can't tell you how frustrating that is when I walk on a job site and I'm like, why is this can here? And they're like, because it lines up. I'm like, but that's not what my plan says. Then I make them move it, and then they don't like me. But ultimately, an electrician is your basis for the electrical components of a home. And so I think what's interesting as a designer, because a lot of designers don't have this construction knowledge, they think an electrician does everything that an AV guy does. It's just electric, right? And when I was talking with Josh from HTA, he said, I was shocked when I was presenting at NKBA, and I did a presentation, and this designer halfway through raised their hand and said, who does this work for AV, an electrician? Like, I think you have to understand, and this is the whole point of today, is understanding that as designers, we don't necessarily understand the side of AV. And so today is such a wonderful educational opportunity, and not to digress, but that's what an electrician does. And you'll speak to?
The integrator.
Yes, the integrator.
So the integrator comes into play from a systems design perspective. And I like to use the word design there because they are designing the entire technology system for the home. So it's really important that we do involve them early on. A lot of the lighting that we're talking about that comes from the electrical side is also kind of blending with the AV responsibilities from a controls perspective, because a lot of them will be helping you clean up the keypads on the wall and making sure that the lighting system works and functions as expected. There's also a lot that goes into automated window treatments, system design, distributed audio, distributed video. There's a lot of categories here that homeowners are really asking for these days, so we want to make sure that we kind of know the difference between an integrator and an electrician. And just to make the waters just a little bit more murky for you, there are some integrators that are also doing high voltage, so you can have a one-stop shop with an electrical and a low voltage person in the same company.
Very good, very good. All right, so designing and integrating smart homes takes a village, takes a team. So making sure that you've got the right resources on the team is absolutely critical. Having the same members on the team every time may not necessarily be the right decision. So part of the conversation today will show you and emphasize you're going to want to have several integrators on your team. Different projects, different sizes, different scale, scope. Involves different specialties, specialized brands, specialized focus, that sort of thing. So as you're going through the course of today, you'll have an opportunity to meet integrators. There are 2 resources we'll touch on at the end. And if you're going to the party tonight, there will be a bunch of integrators in the room as well. And I definitely encourage you to reach out, introduce yourselves, and start having some conversations. So as far as the team goes, the big question is, how do I find the right technology partners? Where do those resources exist? So Sarah, I'd like you to talk a little bit about CEDIA, HTA, and some of those resources and how to get involved and what they stand for.
Sure thing. Real quick, shameless plug here, but I definitely want to start with manufacturer reps as a resource. Manufacturers also have direct sales force. So there's factory salespeople, and then there's independent people like myself that represent different brands that could be reached out as a resource for that brand in a local territory. So you do have an expert of that product that you can always reach out to at a manufacturer to get a little bit more support there. Home Technology Association is one of my favorites. Josh, if you could raise your hand as you bite your bagel back there. He's in the back. Josh and I have recently started working together as well to try to elevate the integrators in the space. The Home Technology Association does a fabulous job of vetting these dealers and making sure they are checked and balanced and checks in with the architect that they worked on the last job, checks in with homeowners, make sure they're satisfied. It's a very rigorous process to get that certification. So that really will help distinguish some of the more elevated integrators in our space that have that track record of professionalism and completed work. As far as CEDIA goes, which is the Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association, not to be confused with the expo here today, but there is the expo for our industry, right? And then we have this association called CEDIA, where we have a couple of resources involved with that organization right now for the design community. There are outreach instructors that are certified within that association, the Smart Home Association, to make sure that you guys can get some CEU credits, even HSW certification as well for these classes to get more educated on the latest and greatest technologies that are coming out, whether it is the lighting and how much that LED has advanced to automated shades or automated energy storage, right? You have a whole range of categories there, and there's about 12 different courses right now, and that continues to grow every year. One thing that we can definitely count on with technology is it's forever changing, so continuing to educate yourself is going to be the best way to start getting involved and just understanding the basics.
Sarah, you touched on, a moment ago, you touched on experience centers and design and showrooms. While that isn't necessarily part of the HTA or CEDIA mix, many of the integrators in the community are starting to build really beautiful experience centers. And these are oftentimes are open and available to you in the design build community to bring your clientele in and do walkthroughs, see what's possible with technology without having to commit at the moment or at the time. So much like you've got kitchen and bath showrooms and other types of showrooms, there are also technology showrooms in your area. HTA, the organization that Sarah mentioned, has a integrator finder on the website. We'll give you that contact at the end. But it's really easy if you just need to find your location where you need an integrator and what they specialize in. And then from there you can have the conversation. It will tell you on the finder whether they have a showroom and what it looks like. But of course, incorporate that into the conversations as you're getting to know them.
I'll also just add that CEDIA also has a resource to find an integrator as well. So there's a couple of different layers to go in and find someone local in your area. Also, if you're looking for a specific product, manufacturers will typically list their experience center partners on their websites. So a couple different ways to find the right partner.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, it's all been really nice and positive up until this moment, but there's this 800-pound gorilla in the room that we kind of need to talk about. Right.
And what is that?
What might that be?
Well, I think as a designer, there's just so many moving parts when it comes to a project that we have to think about. And a lot of time AV is overlooked. We think about the textiles and the functionality, but tech is not going away. And so as a designer, I think that you're doing your clients a disservice if you as a designer don't know a basic level of AV integration to be able to understand your client's needs and then engage with a wonderful AV integrator that can come in or take them to a showroom and talk through how important is it to have this or that in their house? Is it important to have lights? But the question being, how do you find a good integrator? I think as someone who is involved in the Interior Design Society and the NKBA locally, I meet a lot of my trades through that. I think having integrators join associations like the Interior Design Society, NKBA, AIA, ASID, it really shows that you're wanting to better this industry and that your connections or your collaboration with this industry is important. And so for me, I think being a part of an association, having lunch and learns, we had our Christmas party, our IDS Denver Christmas party at an AV integrator showroom, and we did karaoke for Christmas, and we did, and it was awesome. I mean, people got real drunk and did some real bad karaoke, but the showroom was beautiful, and a lot of the designers had never been into that showroom or a showroom at all. And so I think being able to not prove yourself, but be out there and put yourself out there to meet these designers in this association, whether it's NAHB or HBA, I think that's a really great way to find a good integrator.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When she first mentioned the karaoke, I didn't quite understand what she meant, but then you take a minute, it's like, oh, I bet you that was a lot of fun.
A lot of it was costumes, it was insane.
So the integrators like to have fun too. I think there's one of those takeaways. But again, that just illustrates the point. There are many showrooms and facilities that are available to you guys, not only for bringing your clients through, but also for events. And there are several that are coming online that are going to be absolutely exceptional. So definitely get to know your integrators and get to know what their plans are. To that point, get to know what their plans are, because a lot of these showrooms are starting to also incorporate kitchen and bath design or interior design as well, where designers are co-locating with the integrator in those showrooms and providing space for both of them to work and show their work. So that's kind of an exciting evolution, and if that's interesting to you, I would absolutely encourage you to lean into that, because we do need more of that. There are a few around the country, but the more that there are, the more that we can expose consumers and clientele to what's possible with design and technology combined. So with that in mind, these showrooms exist because there's a consumer interest. In our world, we've got a pretty good idea of what consumers are looking for, but we're not as connected to a broader consumer group, I guess, market, than we would like to be. And this is where you guys really come in, because you've got the emotional connection with the homeowner. You're working on projects, you're in their personal space very frequently. So we, on the integration side, need to better understand how to be part of that emotional connection that you have with your clientele and provide the services and the support, but not necessarily feel as though we're the ones in the room that are taking over. Historically, there has been some of that, and it's coming from the right place. I'll say, hand on heart, it has come from the right place. The integrators have been really trying to step in and help the design build community integrate or incorporate technology, but understanding that it's a little complex and it can be a little scary. So sometimes the integration community has jumped ahead of the designer in the conversation just to try to create the solution. Don't worry about it, we've got this. Something I've learned over the last 5 years is that don't worry, we've got this has actually been received maybe more of the negative, like step to the side. You guys don't need to be involved. So I want to sit here today and make sure that you understand that the integrators are there to help you, support you, and collaborate with you. They are not there to take over the relationship or take over the project, by all means. And if you ever get that sense, it is a little bit of a red flag, but it's just a conversation that you need to have so that you understand the roles in the room, but also the hierarchy of the roles in the room. And I feel that that's really important to understand as you're getting into the conversation early, and that you have that with your integrator often. So I've just repeated a phrase there that has become sort of my mantra: early and often, early and often, early and often, early and often. And part of the conversation today is about when to incorporate the resources. And from the technology side, you'll hear us say early and often, early and often, early and often. Because the earlier that we're in on the projects, the more that we can help identify potential improvements, enhancements, maybe a different way of approaching how technology is present or not present in the room. You can showcase technology if that's what your client is into, and you can also hide it. You may not even know that there's a speaker in the room. You'll see that when you tour the floor today. There are some amazing technology evolutions that have occurred that really do showcase it or eliminate it from sight, allowing the design to be at the forefront. And that is becoming increasingly important to us. There are several brands on the show floor that you'll see that are really more design than they are technology. And definitely we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the day. So I guess Sarah and Elizabeth, if you guys would, let's talk a little bit about the ways that design build professionals are currently incorporating technology into their projects, and where you see some opportunities or where you'd like to provide maybe some insights.
I mean, I have clients, I think what's really important is to understand that as a designer, AV integration can be at any level of a project in regards to budget. Obviously, AV integrators, there's a big financial component to it, but it doesn't mean that my client who is spending $100,000 on a kitchen couldn't have a smart pad and some lights they can control from their phone and some electric lines. Like, they don't need a TV that comes from the ceiling. They may not have the budget for that. But it doesn't mean that only fancy homes have AV integration. And I think that's really important to understand as a designer that, oh, that doesn't apply to me. That's not applicable for this project. It can be. It may be a smaller investment amount, but it's still really important. And for me, my clients are almost half of them now are younger than me. They're coming from the tech world. They have big budgets, and they want their houses to work for them. They want to control everything from their phone. They want to be able to walk in and the lights are dim and they're setting the mood for their significant other or whatnot, whatever. But I don't need to know those things. But ultimately, as a designer, I think it's really important for me to know to understand the basics of the AV integration and then engage with an integrator. So I have clients asking for automated blinds, lights controlled from your phone, security systems, that it's all one thing, it's one app that they can click and they can control it. But again, it doesn't have to be incredibly convoluted and really hard to use. It should be user-friendly, and it doesn't have to be a huge price point to make a big impact. So I think that's important as designers to hear that it can be applicable to any project, it's just on a smaller scale.
What you're saying is actually making me think back to this year. I was invited to the American Residential Design Awards, the ARTA Awards. They were in San Antonio, and we're given a presentation for, it's one of my favorite segments. It's like every minute is a new design idea. So it's like 30 design ideas in 30 minutes. You just pop up like some cool pictures and we talk about how cool they were. Really fun segment. Popped up like at least 2 or 3 with a fireplace and a big black box over it. And everybody in that room, the only thing that they could think of was that black box. Not how gorgeous that fireplace was, but just that black box. So more and more I get requests on concealment technologies to make sure we don't have that inevitable black box there. You know, we've been dressing it up with a lot of frames around it or that kind of thing, right? But sometimes we just want it to disappear too. I've seen a lot of movement to screens. So you do have a lot of options and all at different price points.
I was thinking about this morning in my hotel room as I was pulling the shades up, pulling the shades up, pulling the shades up, pulling the shades up, and that was just the blackout layer. And then pulled the shades up, pull the shades up, and I realized this is the dumbest thing in the world, is the pull cord on the shades. And I'm realizing this because about 5 years ago, we did an upgrade in our home, and as I was sharing with you guys, my husband is the one that literally about every 3 weeks says, this is the best investment in technology we've ever made. We've got a 110-inch screen with a big projector, we've got amazing speakers. No, my husband says the Motorized Shades were the best investment we've made in technology to date. Motorized Shades, they literally are life-changing. So, and as I was thinking about it this morning, it's like, you know, you get up and it's like, you don't necessarily want to do this and this and go to every window bang. At home, I've got a scene set. Or I say, okay, Josh, good morning. Being able to control these things by voice is absolutely amazing. The coolest thing about it is you don't have to pick up your phone and start engaging with the stuff on your phone, which I don't know about you, but by 8 a.m. my phone is blowing up. And half the time it's a crisis. So if I don't have to look at my phone before I've even got out of bed and get my shades up, get my lights going, it really is a beautiful thing. And that's technology, and it's technology at work and can be really, really simple. Mm-hmm. What's really cool about it too is the price points are coming down, and this is something that you guys were talking about. And again, I'm talking about motorized shades or automated shades.
Yeah, they're
it's becoming a lot more approachable, right?
They're launching a new shade that's a $500 on average dollar retail price point for an automated shade. All the technology built in already. I mean, it's just these prices just keep coming down from the technology side. I mean, you see it even in the TVs. TVs just keep coming down.
Yeah. You were talking about a surgeon client of yours that you've done some fun technology.
Yeah, I think we have a photo
in here.
Let me use I have a surgeon client that has that does surgeries up in, until 9 or 10 at night, and I don't know what he does after that, charts or whatever it's called. And his wife always wanted to go to bed earlier before not that picture. That was not my picture.
I know, that was not your picture. Good luck finding it.
But ultimately, he comes home late at night, and his wife wanted to make sure that there was a light left on, so when he comes home, that's on. But everything else could be controlled from a pad next to her bed or from her phone. That same house has a 2-story family room, and it was west-facing. And every day at 4 p.m., the room would get incredibly hot. It overlooked this balcony on the 2nd floor that felt like a sauna. And so they had it automated to where the scene came down at 4, and it helped with the heat retention, and it was life-changing for them. So being able to have your house work for you and your quality of life, it doesn't have to be a huge investment, but it can make a big impact. So for at least my clients, I think, like I said, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't know enough to know when to engage with an integrator.
There was another designer up in Oregon, Molly Switzer. She shared a story several years ago that she was doing a project with an integrator, and I think he also was a surgeon, but his hours were off from the rest of the family's hours, and so it was important. They had young children in the house, and I think one of them was special needs. So he really wanted to be able to come and go from the property without having an impact on the home. Didn't want to wake up the kids, didn't want to wake up his wife, wanted to be able to come and go with ease. But they lived out in the country, and so there's really dark out there. So they worked with the integrator to get exterior landscape lighting that was triggered by the motion of his vehicle. So as he entered the property, it would slowly light the driveway as he progressed down the driveway. By the time he got to the garage, those lights were off. There were dim lights at the garage. showing him where to go in. And then from there were lighting scenes inside. The same thing, as he progressed through the house, there would be low-level lighting that would trigger on, trigger off as he moved through in a very quick process, so it wasn't like they were kicking on for 5 minutes and then kicking off. And it just occurred to me that that was just a really thoughtful integration and incorporation of technology that really enhanced the home, right? But it took the designer and the integrator working together to understand first the needs of the home, and then identify the best solution for that. It was just, I think that it's just really thoughtful approach to technology, and that's, if I can inspire or instill anything in you guys, I think that's, technology can be friend, it can also be foe. But when it's properly integrated and incorporated, it really can do amazing, amazing things. And it's evolving so quickly and really creating some amazing opportunities for you guys on the design build side, but also for integrators as well, to really make the home a more enjoyable environment to live in. I'm going to apologize because our deck is, this is an older version of the deck. We refined it yesterday, so I'm bouncing around a little bit, and I don't want to distract you. So I'm going to focus a little bit less on what's going on the deck, and you may see me pop up a few things. This is a little bit out of place, but I just wanted to show you as an example of the type of keypads and the way that technology is coming in is much more design forward, much more aesthetically pleasing, because our alternative previously was this. And we're just going to sit and focus on this for just a hot minute, because this is the way that it used to be done. And you'll still walk into homes or businesses and you'll see things like this. And this is hideous. This is what we call wall acne. And the next one on here, which I may find or may not, is called app acne. And that's what's happening on your phone. Integrators can come in and create a automation profile for you using a third-party platform that makes all of the control and automation available through that singular platform, which means you don't have 15 apps on your phone, on your tablet, on any of your other devices. Much more user-friendly. There are people that love to have a million apps, though. That certainly is okay.
Some people do like the individual apps, but from an ease of control perspective, it's both a multi-layer approach to control. Being able to speak it from your voice, go to a keypad on the wall, use your phone, a tablet, a remote. The multi-layer of control adds to the intuitiveness of the system and the ease of use, which at the end of the day, if it's easy to use, your clients are going to like it.
So, talk about maybe just a couple more fun ways that technology can be incorporated. Another story, I'll just kick you off, and I want each of you guys to throw one at me as well. There was the homeowner in New York who decided that he and his wife needed to have an amazing vacation, so they left the country and they left the kids, teenagers, unfortunately, at home. But they had a bunch of technology in place. They thought all was good, it was going to be fine. As soon as they got out of the country, they started getting notifications on their phone that the activity in the house had increased significantly. The refrigerator door was opening and closing a lot. The patio doors were opening and closing a lot. They had a sense that there might have been more than just their teenage son and his girlfriend hanging out at the house. And lo and behold, when they looked at the cameras, there was a party going on.
Keep an eye on your kids now.
But because the homeowner had worked with an integrator, they also knew how to shut the house down. So they shut the party down remotely. Internet gone, which means no music, no TV, no nothing. Oh, you're not going anywhere? How about let's shut off the lights? So they literally started just shutting the house down to encourage the teenagers that maybe somewhere else was a place to go and not necessarily the house. And that happened, this was like a 7 or 8 year old story, and I just think it's really funny that you can do these things, and it may be a little bit obtrusive, but it also is a way to understand what's going on in your home when you're not there. And again, the integrators can help you and your homeowner understand how to make that happen. Do you guys have any fun technology stories like that you can share?
I mean, the only one I can think of other than that is I had a client who had, during COVID, we all worked from home, moved to home, and we did a big kitchen remodel, and he moved his office to the basement, and he and the AV integrator and our electrician wired up a light that was at the top of the stairs in the kitchen that would come on when he would be on a call in the basement, so that you wouldn't go down the stairs, like his wife or his small child wouldn't go down the stairs. Well, I don't know if his kid cared, but his wife wouldn't go down the stairs if the light was on because it meant he was on a call. And I just thought that was it's an easy integration, but it really affected his quality of life. He didn't have, his kid coming down and walking behind him while he was on a Zoom. So
that's a cool one. We're seeing a lot of office applications right now. A lot of people putting them in their homes. Acoustic panels to make sure there's none of noise bleeding in, video conferencing, that kind of thing. I had one client that Japanese tree, beautiful cherry blossom. Called my architect friend and said he really wanted to have energy independence does that mean? Maybe some solar, didn't know, right? So the architect picked up the phone and called me and said, hey, Sarah, I want you to come to the discovery meeting with my client because I think he wants something advanced in an energy side, but I just don't know what that's going to take to put on the plan. So before he even, drew out plans, we went to the discovery meeting and found out that he certainly does want solar and he wants to have a battery, so we have to allocate the space for it and those kind of things. So honestly, selfishly, that was a lot of fun for me because that's before plans are even drawn and we have the ability to really get this done the right way, right? And make sure we have allocated space planned for those opportunities.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so now that we've covered the what and the why, let's talk about how. How can you leverage technology to enhance your business and differentiate your business? Let's talk about marketing, the fun stuff.
Well, at least for me, I'm a big proponent of getting educated. I love getting certified designations, going to CEUs. I think, like I said, you're doing your clients a disservice if you don't know enough and you're providing a service that isn't meeting industry standards right now. And so for me, if you can develop a great understanding of AV, let's say, you can market yourself as a smart home designer. And do you know how many calls you would be getting? Because that right now is such a hot topic and it's not going away. Technology is not going away. Everything is run from your phone. So as a designer, if I could have the opportunity to say I'm smart home certified, or I specialize in smart home technologies, I would be at the top of the list on that Google search. I would be the first call for people of a certain demographic wanting to have their home be fully integrated. And so why not market yourself with that? But you have to do it with ethics, because if you don't know enough, but you're marketing yourself as is, that's not a well-run business. So there has to be some education provided, but that education can be very standard, basic education. And then you can say, but I have a wonderful integrator that I work with, and we work as a team. And ultimately, us moving forward on your project makes us a smart home certified company. So I think finding those partnerships is really valuable to your business. But as a designer, marketing yourself for this not only provides you probably a wonderful profit, but also the profit for your AV integrators as well, because they're getting direct referrals from you being a smart home designer.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of, some of my architect friends have started doing that. There was one of our women architects out in, somewhere north of Charlotte right now, I can't think of the city's name, but all she does is market herself as a sustainable, aging in place, and a healthy home designer, and she gets those clients that are just looking for that experience, and a lot of the time she is incorporating, making sure it's a HERS rating and making sure it's properly insulated and those extra levels of security in the foundation of the building of their home. So really cool opportunity there. I was going to say that there is also another organization besides CEDIA, besides HTA, and getting these educational classes just to start getting your toes wet on the different things to speak about from a technology perspective, and having those discovery calls. Call some of your local integrators, pick up the phone, get an introduction, and try and get over to their experience center and see how it all comes together. There is another community that I'm finding quite interesting as I'm learning more and more about how technology does impact your health more and more. The science and design community is really studying biophilia, different lighting, how it can impact your moods, how it can impact your health. Materials, right? Fractal designs. There's a lot of things that can be incorporated there, and that they do offer a certification program as well.
Totally.
To this community, to your community.
It just differentiates yourself, right? I think everybody can go out and say, I'm a member of this association, I'm a designer, but if you can say, I'm CLIP certified, or I'm CMKBD, or I specialize in smart home, when you're, as a designer, up against, or a builder, up against other builders or designers for a project, you are differentiating yourself. It shows that you have bettered yourself. It shows that you are interested in this industry and you're interested in the innovation of this industry. And so for me, it's just a selling point that you don't even have to sell. It's just you're educated in it. If it's interesting to you, I'm happy to work on your project. Ultimately, that's how you market yourself, is to differentiate yourself.
There currently is not a certification for technology design or smart home design. We're working on it. How that's going to happen, I don't exactly know. But CEDIA and HTA, both of them and many of the individuals in our community are really taking into better consideration the certification side of it. So that this question comes up very often is how can I get certified as a designer for being a technology specialist? That doesn't really exist yet. HTA, the Home Technology Association, has 2 programs though, and they're a little bit of like rules of engagement, if you will. So they've got a program for technology integrators that is, they're certified to work with designers, and it essentially just, they have provided the right amount of education, knowledge, outreach, and tools for designers. And they also are committing to a certain level of expertise and experience, support, those kinds of things. Equally, they've got a similar program on the design side, so while it's not a certification, it is a credential of sorts that you can promote. Definitely something to look into. Josh Christian was here, he waved in the back, he's off doing a presentation, but, nope, there he is, Josh Christian, there's the man. So if either of these are interesting to you, at the end of the session, go see Josh, and he'll also be at the party tonight. You're going to be at the party tonight, right? Yeah, okay.
And there's CEUs. I mean, you don't have to necessarily get certified, but you have to get educated. And so I think that's the biggest thing, whether it's through a vendor or manufacturer or these associations. If there's CEUs that are offered, take them. You're here today for a reason, and that reason is that you want to learn more about this space. And so whether you're educated already in it or my students, young designers coming here to learn more, that's why we're here. And so that's the whole concept of today, really.
Yeah. And some of the things that you'll want to be thinking about is, as I mentioned it earlier, is do you want to showcase your technology or do you want to hide the technology? And really understanding that from the homeowner's perspective and what their interests are. Get that out of the way early in the conversation. It also is something that, to the point of the marketing component of the conversation, that's something that you can start to really hone in on as well. Is, are you a designer who wants to specialize in making technology very visible and beautiful? Or are you more inclined to have it disappear? You'd prefer it not to be present in your designs. And you can certainly be both things, and I would encourage you to be both things by all means. But start to understand what your interest is in technology and how it is presented in the environments that you're working in. And as you're starting to look at how you want to promote those, start to develop a narrative that's true to your brand, to your character, about how you consider these things. Sarah mentioned the giant black box on the wall. The TV, unfortunately, as amazing as a technology as it is probably it's maybe number 1 or 2 of the most hated. Speakers are typically the other one. And in the technology world, we will say that these big giant monoliths are actually really beautiful, and we understand that they may not necessarily be in every space, but you really can do a lot with technology to enhance or conceal. And so be thinking about that. Because we're talking about marketing, I wanted to sort of tee that up, because from a website perspective, social media, collateral, those kinds of things, would you recommend that the design build community start to incorporate these elements into the websites and into their marketing? Standalone pages, part of the storytelling?
I think standalone pages is great if you want a sub-page that talks about your services and that you, like I said, you specialize in smart home. I think that's wonderful. I know the HTA has a design partnership badge that you can put on your website and marketing material if you're a designer. So for me, I think that there's different components. It really depends on the length you want to go to promote yourself as a smart home designer in regards to the marketing. But I think designers really try to focus on the pretty pictures, and a big component of pretty pictures is that you don't have wall acne, and that you do have a smart panel, and you do have automated blinds that you don't have to see a big remote for. So I think that AV is just a really big component of design that right now is just not as thought through as it should be.
And I think drawing more attention to it on a website, on your social, is definitely one way to at least get that feedback.
Totally. Yeah. Hashtag it.
Hashtag it. One tool that I certainly want to give a lot of credit to Josh again for is the budget tool. A lot of times we don't know what to ask. That form just gives you at least a list of what categories do we have available to us from a technology standpoint, and you can even walk through that sheet with your homeowner to get at least a rough budget of how much is this stuff going to cost. And if we were doing a larger square footage, it's a really developed tool, and they recently added a lot for the LED side of things, which are certainly picking up from a technology side. So you could definitely incorporate that into your website as well.
Yeah.
Just reach out to Josh.
Or your intro meeting, it's like a survey.
So, did you guys all get your goodie bags for the day? Got your goodie bags? Okay. In your goodie bags, for those of you that have an all-day pass for today, in your goodie bags you will have the Technology Designer Resource Guide. If you don't have a day pass, you can download it off of the website, Technology Designer Day of Discovery website. If you scroll the page, you'll see there's a download link for that. Want to make sure that you leave here with tools. So several months ago, Doug Weinstein and I were talking about how we wanted to provide you guys not only the conversation about technology and the resources that we have available, but also to provide you the actual resource itself. So Technology Designer has started to compile this resource guide, and it will continue to evolve, but the budget assessment that Sarah was talking about is part of that. The HTA, the Home Technology Association, on their website has several tools. One is the budget calculator, and then that is on the homepage. It's something that's very easy to do, and it's basically just a wizard, a self-narrated tour of the kind of technology and what the home needs. So the HTA technology budget calculator is on the website. It's also mentioned in the resource guide. That's definitely something that you're going to want to play around with, get to know what the price ranges are for the type of technology packages that are out there. And of course, those will all be refined based on the scope of the individual project, but it's a really great tool for you guys to use. That is also something that, if you're interested, you can embed that in your own websites. That's the reason I'm bringing it up from a marketing perspective. So again, the HTA will provide you embed codes for that if that's something that you're interested in having on your website. And I would absolutely encourage you to do that, because it allows the consumer to go and without feeling vulnerable, provide some information into the tool that will give them the right range of pricing for the type of technology that they might want to have. It's a great conversation starter. So that's one of the things. Also, too, the integrator finder is there. There's linkage to that in your resource guide as well.
You have to remember, clients don't know what they don't know. So if they're like, I didn't know I could do that, well, then you've missed an opportunity. So your goal as their advocate, as a designer, oh, there's my blinds.
Here's your slides.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Your goal as a designer is to be their advocate and say, is this important to you? This is a really great resource to determine if it is and if it fits into your budget. Because if they once go to a showroom and they go, actually, I do want this is important to me, then it's just another facet for the services you're offering.
Yeah. There is also a technology assessment form that the HTA has provided, and that's also included in the resource guide. And again, it's basically a walkthrough document. So as you're working with your clients and getting in the early stages, getting to understand what they need, you can go through and utilize this form. It's a really great resource. Anyways, the resource guide has a ton of tools and resources in there. So definitely after today, make sure and sit down with a cup of coffee or whatever your favorite cocktail is and go through that. There's a lot of really great resources there.
Questions?
We've reached the time.
I know.
We've reached the time.
I know.
Yeah. So, Q&A time, boys and girls. We've jumped around a little bit, and I'm sure we've moved through this pretty progressively, pretty quickly, and I hope that we haven't overloaded you or overwhelmed you. But at this point, we'd love to have any questions come in from the audience. It could be about any portion of the conversation.
Challenges we have faced on job sites, anything, really. I think this panel came about to some extent was, when I came last year, I was completely overwhelmed as a designer. I knew nothing about the space. I felt overwhelmed. And so our goal for this was to really make it approachable and empower designers and the build community to make sure that they're really starting to think through that this is a priority for their projects. So really, any questions at all?
There are also a lot of people here that are willing to support. I mean, the list of sponsors, very impressed, Carol. Great job, Doug. I mean, you guys, we have a ton of people supporting, trying to get us to collaborate earlier and make sure that we're maintaining our design intent.
Yeah.
Your design intent.
Well, it sounds like we need to wrap it up. All right.
Okay, folks.
Thank you so much,
Let's give our panelists a round of applause.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie, Sarah, and Elizabeth.